everyone, and welcome on to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for our special broadcast here as we have special guests with us today. First off, introduce myself. I'm Gavin Higgins. I'm the news director at KCNI KBBN. And now on your screen, you can see Santa and Mrs. Claus from the North Pole. Hello, how are you guys doing?
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
We're doing
pretty good. Just pretty darn good.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And of course, a big thank you to you guys for taking time out of your schedule. It's already Christmas this week, if you can believe it. And I know that you guys are busy, but we really do appreciate you taking the time out, not only to talk with us, but to everyone who's watching as well.
You know, it's a pleasure. We're always ready to do something that'll help the kids out and make them smile. That's the whole goal of everything we do.
Perfect. Well, we already have some questions coming in, so we're just going to dive right into it. First off, Katie would like to know what type of cookie to set out for you.
Oh, you know, I haven't found a cookie that I don't like yet. It doesn't make a lot of difference. Whatever kind you like, Katie, I can take a couple of them, and I'll be most happy.
Now, of course, there's always milk to go with a cookie, and I think the question that everyone wants answered, what kind of milk? Chocolate or white milk or maybe even strawberry? What's your favorite type?
Well, Mrs. Claus, I think that probably you always give me white milk, and I think that we tried to get to that 2% stuff one time, and we didn't like that, so I like the whole milk.
Whole milk. Well, Mrs. Claus, is it true? Does he like the whole milk?
He does. That's what he prefers. But keep in mind, he's going to have a lot of cookies that night and a lot of other treats. So maybe a little bit of 2%, if that's what you have in your refrigerator, that would probably be just fine too. He's thirsty each place. He needs to keep hydrated to get all the jobs done. So 2% will work real well for that night. And actually, he says he doesn't necessarily have a favorite, but when it comes to the cookies disappearing the quickest at our house, chocolate chip goes quickly, peanut butter, snickerdoodle. I guess that's probably about the main one. So
you forgot the lemon with lemon frosting.
And he likes lemon ones, but he's not fussy. Anything, it seems like whatever, if those cookies are good cookies, they find a way to his tummy.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, anyone who's watching, don't forget that you can type your comments in and ask Santa a question, any question at all. We've already had a couple, and we have another one in as well. Camden would like to know, who is your favorite reindeer?
Oh, you know, I don't really have a favorite reindeer. They're all important. I will say that Rudolph is very important because he's the one that leads the way. So I suppose that you probably, don't tell the reindeer, but I'd say probably Rudolph.
Very good. Well, of course, it is Christmas week. Things have got to be busy. I guess tell everyone what is currently going on in the workshops and maybe even in the pens.
You know, it's getting close to Christmas, and the elves are just going nuts. They are trying to get all the toys made and be ready for me when I'm ready to go. It takes a lot of time. It's about a 24-hour day for those elves. They're pretty tough little guys.
And they're working on all the details too, to make sure that all of the games have all the pieces that they need in them.
Yes.
And that all of the curly-haired dolls have all their curls. Make sure too that if you want a Nerf gun, that you have all of the supplies for that. There's a lot of pieces that go with toys anymore. It's not just simply an independent item. And so we want to make sure that the packaging is all correct and put together so that everything is there when those kids open up those gifts. And then they're also just working too to make sure that they can do the elves are working to make sure that they do everything they can so that Santa can get plenty of rest this week so that way he's really prepared for that big night.
And a big night it will be. And I think the question that a lot of people want to know is, how do you get around the world in such a short amount of time? I know that there's, I'm sure there's some science in there, but magic's got to play a big part as well.
There's a lot of science involved, and we know when to leave the North Pole. We've got the benefit of 24 hours before the day is over, and so we can go around and we gain an hour every so often, and sometimes we lose an hour. But that just depends on how big a cities we're in. A lot of magic. There's a lot of magic involved, and I can't even tell you the number of hours we've worked on the magic part of it. It's been a lot of years of experience, a lot of years.
And two, like everything else, better technology. We don't use a
It's
Google
different.
map or anything that way, but just like the technology that brings this for everyone, we have technology so that way that sleigh makes the trip the most efficiently that it can. Also that all the packages are packed for the most efficient distribution. It's there's some science, some technology, but the magic is what makes it all come together.
I know that magic also helps you get into homes. It sounds like breaking and entering to maybe some adults, but that's the best way to get in. And I know that a lot of magic plays a factor when you're getting into homes. And last year when you stopped up, you brought a special key with you. Do you still have that key with you, Santa?
Right here. I take it with me all the time because I never know what might happen. But, back in the old days, everybody had a fireplace. And so all I'd do is just touch my nose and give a wink, and I was gone. But I had to have that at least that chimney to get through. So now I have the magic key, and I can go in any door, and it looks a little bit strange, a little bit big, but it works. It works every time.
Well, we do have another question. Looks like Mariah would like to know, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Jingle bells.
Can't imagine why.
I have a lot of bells around our house up here.
Now, of course, this is the year of COVID, so something that you really don't have to worry about too much, especially on Christmas Day, is avoiding people, since that's pretty much how you get in and out of places. You're trying to get in and out without anyone seeing you, which you've done well for centuries, I would have to say. But of course, while you're up there at the North Pole, trying to make sure everyone is still safe, the elves, do you have masks in the North Pole?
We do not have a problem with COVID up here. We make sure that all the elves are very, very healthy. We make sure the nutrition is proper, and it just makes all the difference in the world. We just haven't had, we very seldom ever have an elf that says, I don't feel very good today, can I go home? And that just won't happen.
Very good. And I mean, the elves have to love working for
Yes.
you guys. They do so well, and they're so efficient, like you mentioned earlier. I think that a lot of people obviously give you credit, but I think you'd have to give credit to those elves. They work very hard.
By all means.
Oh, yes.
Yes, they are the number one. That's what makes things roll.
Now, when it comes to presents, do all of them go on the sleigh? Do you have to make several trips? How does that work?
Let's just say magic. We load the sleigh pretty heavy, and when I get through with one bag, I can just go back, reach back, and I have another bag full that's ready to go. And there's a lot of magic involved in that. There's a lot of presents that goes out every year.
Now, you were talking about technology earlier. What's one of your favorite things on the sleigh? Maybe that has been added over the years. I mean, I'm sure it probably started off with a wooden sleigh with metal rails, and
Yes.
what's it advanced to now? You have touch GPS. What's all on the new and improved Santa sleigh?
Well, I have a lot of years behind me, but Rudolph does too. And he is the one that leads us. And he's very good at knowing where he's going and how long it's going to take to get there. And it's just like an engineer on board.
One thing though, they have made some adjustments so that way the sleigh stays warm,
Yes.
which just kind of helps keep Santa kind of at the peak of his energy level, since he's traveling all over the place, and for most parts of where he goes, December is not the warmest time of year. So they put some extra heaters in that kind of help to keep keep the entire area warm enough so that way his hands don't get cold or his feet don't get cold. That's one of the biggest improvements I think since in the last 10 years that really they've improved that part of it. And then too, he doesn't really have a thermos, but he always has warm cocoa available, just on the off chance that he needs a little bit of something extra to kind of pep him up a little bit.
Well, you know, this makes a lot of difference. I've got a lot of insulation here, so that helps too.
Don't forget, for anyone who's watching, you can ask Santa or Mrs. Claus a question. Just simply type your comment into the comment feature. Make sure you add the name of the person who is asking the question, and then we can pass these questions along to Santa and Mrs. Claus, just like Zane. And Zane would like to know if you get any presents for Christmas, and I think this question can be posed both to Mrs. Claus and Santa.
You know, Gavin, I get a present every time I leave one. It's such a joy to see the kids get up in the morning and they're all happy and they're excited, and to know that Santa Claus is the one that made that happen. It's well worthwhile. There's a lot of magic to Santa Claus. There's a lot of spirit behind Santa Claus, and it all comes together pretty well.
And as for me, I have found as I've gotten older that some of the best gifts that I've gotten don't revolve around an item that I unwrap. It's more related to being able to see people or spend time with those that we care about. And some of that comes from just the joy that comes from the season itself, of seeing that other people care for each other a little bit more, be a little bit more courteous and helpful. Our elves, though, always seem to find a little special something for us, something thoughtful that's meaningful for us too. I don't know if it's really necessarily, the most important thing to anybody else, but it's important to us, that they recognize that maybe I need a new cookie tray. Although I think that's kind of a double-edged gift. Like, they give me a new cookie tray with the hopes that maybe then it'll be filled back up a little quicker. But they do their part to make us feel special too. So, and we try to make them feel special also.
I think that brings up a good point about, maybe if someone who's watching wants to give one of their family members maybe a gift, but kind of like you guys talked about, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, something very simple. Maybe just a CD with maybe a couple of their favorite songs on there could be just as important as a new car that can have the exact same value.
This is just a bit off the subject of the kids, but we were actually in Broken Bow last week, and we came for one thing. We wanted to go around and see all the people we could see at the rest home, Brookstone. And we couldn't go in because of the COVID stuff, but we had several people that actually showed up while we were there. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see. So not only do the kids smile and have fun, but the older people do too. It was a great day for them.
Yeah, and I believe that was the same day. I think I was up there. I'm
yes,
pretty sure I remember seeing you guys up there. And 100% correct. The faces of the people in the windows it just lit up their world when those who are inside helping out each of one of those elderly. As soon as they would open that window, it was just their face lit up with, oh my goodness, it's Santa and Mrs. Claus. So of course, just a huge thank you to you guys. You do so much, not only for communities around the world, but here in Broken Bow and Custer County as well. We see you often throughout the area. I know that the Elks Lodge, they are very connected with you guys. You really help each other out when it comes to things like that. The coat drive, which is currently going on through the end of the year, but this is a time of giving, and I think you guys give your time so well here in the community.
Yes, I communicate a lot with them on the coat drive because it's such an important thing. You not only make somebody happy because they've got a coat to wear when it's cold, but you got a lot of times that there's a lot of smiles involved, not only with just the person that got the coat, but the family members. And that coat drive is all right. They do a good job.
It makes it fun to come back to Broken Bow because
Yes.
you see that generous spirit shown in so many ways. So many people give to make the Broken Bow community better all the time, and that they want to help each other, that they want to do the right thing, that they want everyone to have a joyful, happy, warm Christmas.
Sure.
And that's what makes communities like Broken Bow so fun to see. We really like to come.
And one more thing in that regard, and that is that Casey and I, KVVN, we have enjoyed working with you guys through the years. It's been a real joy for us to be able to have you either come to our place or we'll go down to your place, and it just depends a lot of the time of year.
Well,
but,
and really, Gavin was quite a trooper because that day that we went and visited the nursing home, that was a pretty blustery day. And we're a little bit more accustomed to that cold weather, but that was a chilly one for most people to be out and about. And if you haven't had the opportunity to visit at Brookstone View, they're kind of on the top of the hill, so they catch all the wind that's blowing. And that particular day, it was chilly. So hats off to Gavin too, because his hat just about blew off completely that day.
It was a little bit breezy that day. Had a great time up there with both of you and all of the Elks as well who came down to wave and say Merry Christmas to everyone. And we've got a few more questions coming in. Don't forget that you can ask your questions in the messenger, and I will be able to ask them to Santa and Mrs. Claus. First off, Mesa Taylor would like to know, how many reindeer do you have?
Mrs. Taylor, I didn't know what...
Mesa Taylor.
What's that?
Mesa Taylor, right?
Oh, Mesa. Oh, Mesa. Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I missed
There's too many Mrs.
You know-
Taylors to keep track of, but there's only one Mesa.
There are a lot. Well, Mesa, we have 9 reindeer primarily. But if you listen to the song about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it talks about Olive. And so Olive is back at home most of the time. And she doesn't always get to come, but anyway, she's always ready if she needs to be. So we've actually got 10.
Well, tell us a little bit more about Olive. Why doesn't she come out as much maybe as the other reindeer?
More experience.
Mm-hmm.
She's younger, and so there's more experience there, and we rely a lot on the experience. Makes a lot of difference.
Speaking of Rudolph, Ben Jill would like to know, how does Rudolph's nose glow?
You know, that is something that when Rudolph was born, I remember that well. He was born many, many years ago. The reindeer actually are a lot older than what they look. But when he was born, why, he wasn't very many days old, and that nose started to glow. And he was so embarrassed, and he's still embarrassed about it, but he knows that it's a real good beacon for the whole operation. And it really improves things so far as being able to get around. And so anyway, it's just another one of those magic things that I can't even explain because it just started after he was born.
And we didn't have any other reindeer with that go on. He was just exceptional. It's a good way to look at it because sometimes kids have things that maybe are different from other people that may seem a little bit odd or out of place. It just makes them more exceptional and wonderful.
I might add, and I bet you that there aren't too many people that know this, that there's 8 girl reindeer and 1 boy reindeer. And of course, Rudolph is the boy.
Very cool. We have already some more questions coming in. A big thank you to everyone who's watching and continuing to ask questions. We wouldn't be here without all of your guys' support and help. So a big thank you to you. And going down our list here, Hazen Taylor would like to know, what is your favorite snack? And this is for both Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Well, Mrs. Claus, have at it.
Okay, so I am very fond of lemon bars because I think they're just wonderful any time of the year. But my all-time favorite would be peppermint chocolate cookies.
Ooh, good choice. I'm a big fan of the lemon bars myself. All right, Santa Claus. Now,
Well-
you're a fan of cookies, I know, but what is a snack besides cookies you love?
Lemon bars are fine, but until you've tasted one of Mrs. Claus's brownies, you have tasted a brownie.
Very good. Well, again, if anyone would like to ask any questions, type those into the comments and we'll pass them along to Santa and Mrs. Claus. Of course, we can see the background around you, which, you know, there's the tree, the fireplace behind you, obviously indoors. It is snowing outside, but Grayson would like to know, where are the reindeer?
You know, the reindeer, they graze on the tundra for the most part, and so they have lots of food out there. There's no problem in keeping them healthy and ready to go. And then, of course, when I have brought the reindeer to Broken Bow, and when I have gone down there, I always take Bill, and Bill's my brother. And some of you may have met Bill a few years ago, but he takes care of the reindeer while we're down here. He knows for his pasture, and he makes sure that they're well watered and ready for the trip back home. But they are on the tundra for the most part through the year.
But they do have a stable when the weather gets bad, that there's a stable
Yes.
to help give them protection when the weather is especially bad. We've seen bad storms go through every area, but the North Pole has their share too. So we have to make sure that they have a place that's a little cozy, just in case it gets really, really rough outside.
I mean, it is the North Pole. I think
Mhm.
winter
Yeah.
weather is kind of second nature up there, I would believe.
That's very true. And the reindeer are built for it, and they're used to it. They have a very, very heavy coat.
Deacon would like to know, how do you fly?
Well, I have to have the sleigh to fly. That's the way I get around. I also have vehicles that I drive, but the sleigh is my main transportation. Well, my only transportation when I'm out on Christmas Eve, by all means. And then a lot of the other times, like I say, I've been to Broken Bow with the reindeer before. I go to other cities, and it just depends on the event. It depends on what other things is going on, how fast I have to be there, and get back up here to make sure everything's going well with the elves.
And I know that, especially when it comes to reindeer, someone might see one maybe in the zoo or something and wonder, why doesn't that reindeer fly? So why do your reindeer fly and other ones don't?
Magic.
Well, it's kind of like Rudolph's
Yes.
nose being so
Yeah.
exceptional. These are just a special group. I think there were wasn't there some reindeer here in Broken Bow?
Yes.
Like the end of last week, maybe out towards Cobblestone and Dairy Queen,
Yeah.
that I think were real tame and that the kids got to get close to and could look at, maybe even pet. But it's like if you have a dog, there's so many different varieties of dogs. And that's the same with these reindeer, that these ones that we have there are specially geared towards living at the North Pole where it's bitter, cold, a good share of the year. But one of their special traits is that they can fly.
And I think I would take the flying reindeer. I think I'd like to ride a flying reindeer.
Well, sometime when you come up to see us and have more time, what you do tonight, we'll have talked about that ahead of time, and I think we can arrange that.
Sounds good.
You
Well,
better bring your winter coat because you aren't used to it.
I would have to agree. You know, right now, of course, here in Broken Bow, it's been 50 degrees, and it's looking like it could be 50 degrees on Christmas Day as well. So, you know, usually normally you land on the snow with those metal rails on your sleigh. So what do you do when maybe there's no snow on the roofs?
There's a special metal that they have that we use for runners, and that metal will work very well on concrete, believe it or not. If you happen to by any chance know somebody that has an airboat, it's very much the same as that you put on the bottom of the airboats, and they can go on the concrete as well as they can go on the water. Not quite as fast, but
Well, and then it's a special technology. We talked about that earlier. But that way it doesn't mess up anybody's roof when he lands on the roof, regardless of whether you have a shingled roof or if you have a metal roof. So, because the last thing we want to do is cause anybody any problems because Santa Claus stopped to see him.
Well, you know, when they first come out with metal roofs, that's another story. I had to get used to that. They're pretty slick.
Probably took a couple of tries before you
Yep.
maybe had to go back around once or twice
That's
before
right.
you
That's
got
right.
it figured out.
That's right.
Mariah Crawford would like to know, of course, you are, we'll call you of elder age, a couple of centuries old, but she would like to know if you were ever a little kid and if you were good or naughty.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's a really good
you know,
question.
It's a really good
You know,
question.
I actually was born in Turkey. Now, that I don't suppose too many people have been to Turkey, but that's where I was born. I was born, and I don't often say this, I keep my age down a little bit, but I was born 1750 years ago on March the 15th. And so, I haven't been around forever, but it sometimes seems like it. But anyway, from there, I became a saint, and that's because of the church. The church is very close to me. It's a very important part of our lives, and I hope it's an important part of all your lives. It's good.
So part of that, what he's getting at too, is that he was pretty good even when he was a little boy, and
Had to be.
that's part of what we hope everybody can learn to do too. I mean, we know people make mistakes and have setbacks as far as how they behave, but we all need to work towards being a better person every day, and that's part of it. And everybody can do that, regardless of whether you're a young child or whether or not you're even as old as Santa Claus. And I don't know if we want to say old, maybe just seasoned would be the better term.
That's not salt and pepper either.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few minutes left here in the program, so if anyone would like to pass along their questions, maybe they've been holding on to, let them know. Let's put them in the comments, and we'll pass it along to Santa and Mrs. Claus. Of course, can't hold you too long. I know things continue to get busier and busier every day as we approach Christmas. Very excited to be able to have you guys on today. And I know it's always fun when we be able to get Santa and Mrs. Claus on the radio. Of course, that's what we've done the last few years. And, you know, to make things even more fun, we decided, hey, what the heck, let's throw you on the video camera as well and see what the inside of the North Pole houses look like. And a big thank you to you guys for taking the time out to talk with us.
Yeah, we appreciate you
Yep,
guys.
that's-
With the technology today, it makes stuff like this even more fun to be able to do. And as calm and serene as our background is with the fireplace, you need to know that back in the workshop, the elves are just working like crazy trying to get everything ready for the big day.
And we hated that we didn't get to see a lot of the kids this year down here. But one thing about it is that that's something we can do and do so that everybody can see if they need to or if they want to.
Well, it looks like we have at least one question.
Okay.
Jake would like to know, of course, we've talked a little bit about that magic, but Jake would like to know, how do you make your reindeer fly?
They know when to go. All I do is just give the word to them and they go. And I better be sitting down because they go quickly. And on to the next house, and sometimes they're very close, sometimes they aren't. But that again is something that Rudolph is talented in. He's had a lot of years of experience, and he does very well. But hope that answers the question.
Well, of course, those reindeer are very busy as well, and you know, they can't spend all year eating bad food. They have to eat some good food as well. So, you know, I always wonder, when people are sending out cookies for you, do you suggest maybe they put out some carrots or celery maybe for a reindeer?
Carrots are better than celery. You got a little more solid nutrition because celery is kind of for the people that are on a diet, and they aren't on any diets.
They have to stay
Neither do
strong
I.
and have energy. Apples are a good thing too.
Yes,
They like apples.
do well.
Great. Well, we've officially reached 7 o'clock, so we're going to end our stream. But once again, a huge thank you to both you, Santa and Mrs. Claus, and of course from all of us here at KCNI KBN. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Gail.